What's going on, everybody? Dave here, JDH Reptiles. Today I have an interesting one for you. This here, what you're looking at, is a blow-off valve. This is a Boombas, B-O-O-M-B-A-S blow-off valve. It came off my 2013 Hyundai Veloster Turbo. What we're going to do is we're going to service this thing today because it's not working properly. And I highly recommend for those of you who have a turbocharged vehicle with an aftermarket blow-off valve, this is probably going to be different between your model blow-off valve and what I actually have in hand, but they all are serviceable for the most part. So what I'm showing you here is the blow-off valve. I'm also showing you the grease we're going to use and the cleaner we're going to use. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the top half or the top hat of the blow-off valve off. This will expose the spring and the piston. Now on this one here, it has 3mm Allen head screws that hold the hat onto the body. The body was held down to the intercooler with 5mm Allen heads as well. Now, there is typically pressure under here, so as I'm showing you, I'm going every other bolt. Once the first three are off, I'm going to grip tightly onto the hat because when I take off the remaining bolts, this could pop off. Unfortunately, this one was so corroded and dirty, you'll see here as I push down on this piston, it sticks. That should be pushing back out, and it won't. So there's carbon, debris, etc. We need to take care of that. You could just see how nasty this bypass valve is. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you. I bought this vehicle used. I don't know how long this has been on the vehicle for, but it obviously is quite dirty, quite nasty, and we're going to take care of that today. So what I'm going to use here is an Allen, and I'm going to push that in through the top, and I'm going to pop the piston out. This takes a little bit of work because it is so pushed in there. That actually end up flipping us over and pushing it down on top of the chest here. And as you'll see, it will eventually pop. Like so. Again, still stuck. Now this could be yours too. These should be regularly serviced, cleaned, lubricated. And again, these can work with any, Greddy, Blitz, Turbo XS, etc. So here you can see how this works. The spring sits in the middle of the piston. It is set inside that top hat. This is a two-piece base. Again, it was stuck together. You can see the corrosion on it. You do want to be very careful when cleaning these up though, because like this is aluminum. And if you use any hard chemicals, hard cleaners, or like a wire wheel, you can damage or make the aluminum surface untrue. So I'm using Simple Green. I'm going to soak this hat down and I'm going to let it sit while I soak everything else down. Outside, inside, everything. There are O-rings on the inside. It's okay. You can get the Simple Green on the O-rings. It's not going to hurt anything. So I continue soaking the piston down. I'm going to soak the spring down as well. I mean, basically everything and anything. I will not pull the O-rings out of their grooves for two reasons. One, I don't want to damage them because I don't have replacements. And two, they are all soft and pliable still. So I'm just going to leave them where they're at and just going to clean and wipe everything down. Again, we're not going to use any tools. We're just going to let everything sit and soak for a little while. All right, now that everything is soaked for a little while, I'm coming back at it. I'm going to start with just some paper towel and I'm going to wipe everything off. Again, these aren't going to be 100% perfectly clean. They do have age on them. They do have wear and tear. But we're going to do the best we can to wipe them down and make sure that they operate properly. You'll see at the top of this piston here, there is an O-ring. Again, I'm not removing the O-ring. I am just wiping it. The inside of this piston does have quite a bit of corrosion. Now, the Simple Green is not going to take care of that corrosion. However, it will clean it pretty well. I'm going to soak it a little bit longer with a little more of that Simple Green in there. And in the process, I'm going to work on the next piece. So you just want to keep working on everything. Again, cleaning the inside here. This has a double O-ring on the inside of this hat. You can see how well it's coming clean. We're going to get in there. We're going to scrub it up really good. We're also going to wipe the mating surface. And I'm also going to clean the exterior of it as well, because let's just be honest, it all needs to be clean. What you see I'm doing here is the very bottom edge. There's like a little groove in there. I'm pointing at right there. It has dirt and debris in there. So I stuffed the paper towel in there and I used that Allen wrench from earlier just to put a little pressure down there and clean the grooves out. Again, be very careful, very mindful that you do not put any additional pressure, tools, fingernails, anything like that on the O-rings, because you could cause a tear, and if you do that, you will have a boost leak. So we don't want to do that. All right, so now I'm going to flip this inside out. I want to keep working with a clean surface, and I'm just going to wipe it clean. I'm going to spray down a little bit more, give it one more good wipe, and make sure that I am happy with where we're at on this. After that, I will wipe down the remainder of the hat and wipe down the surface here, try and get any of the extra dirt and corrosion off of that as well. And then we're going to flip over to the outside of it. And this blow-off valve is not in an area where you can see it. So we're not doing this because we want it to look nice necessarily. We're just doing it because we're servicing the unit. We are going to clean it properly inside and out and try and give this thing the best longevity we can. So again, I'm just going to sit here and take care of this part, get it all nice and clean. And after I am happy with that, we'll move on to the next piece. All right, now we're going to move on to the spring. Now the spring itself doesn't have a lot of dirt and debris. It does have some corrosion on it. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes here. I'm going to get inside of all the coils. I'm going to wipe it down appropriately, get it nice and clean to the point that I feel it's about as good as it'll get. Again, depending on the age of your unit and what condition it's actually in, a lot of these parts are not going to come 100% clean, but it is all about making sure they are good, ready to reuse, and working properly. Now we're going to move on to the middle base portion. This piece, as you can see, is very dirty. So the piston seats up against where that O-ring is. This is what holds it tight when it's not being opened. So the blow-off valve is closed under acceleration. When you let off the accelerator, that's when the valve gets sucked up and the pressure is released. So you want to make sure this surface is nice and clean. That way you have no leaks and the blow-off valve operates the way it's supposed to. So again, I'm going to clean the exterior edges. I'm going to clean the interior edges. I'm going to clean all the mating surfaces, and I'm going to wipe down that O-ring area and make sure that is super, super clean. Remember, in the meantime, every once in a while, wipe your gloves off, or if you're bare hand, keep your hands clean as well. Last thing you want to do is push any dirt and debris that has been sitting on your gloves into the unit. So here I flip it over, you can see the large O-ring that's going to seal the base. You want to make sure to clean that as well. You can also see some corrosion around the edges on the other side, but that's not going to come off. So we just move on to the next piece. So this is the bottom plate. This is the part that actually bolts to the intercooler. On the Veloster, the blow-off valve / bypass valve is actually mounted directly to the intercooler. So this is the part that mounts to that intercooler. So we want to make sure both the side where the middle plate and the piston rest are nice and clean. We want to make sure the outer edges are nice and clean. And then we want to make sure the mounting surface where the intercooler is nice and clean. With that being said, you won't see it in this video, but I did take a little bit of time, only about a minute or so. I took a paper towel out to the car with a little simple green on it, and I did clean the surface of the intercooler and all the mounting points because I wanted to make sure that these clean parts will get put onto a clean, flush surface. That way we make sure again that we have no leaks and that this unit is working properly. So I'm just going to continue to wipe this off. I'm going to clean the outer edges, the inner edges, and we will get this back together here momentarily. And now back to our nemesis, the piston itself. Now I've had this soaking for about 4 or 5 minutes. Again, I know it's not going to be 100% clean. I realize there's a lot of corrosion that's going to need to be, just dealt with. It's going to need to be left alone. There's nothing more we can do. We could replace the unit. We could go forward and just use a wire wheel if you want to be really careful. But in my opinion, it's fine. It's on the inside. It's not going to become an issue. So I emptied out all the simple green. I changed over to a clean towel. And here we are working on the inside and outside of this piston. Again, just manual labor. Get in there. Scrub it out as good as you can. Again, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. There's no sealing surfaces in there. It's not the end of the world. It's brass. It's going to be what it is. But that is where we're at now on this unit. Reassembly time. Note where I'm pointing at right now. The inner edge, the inner wall, the O-rings. We'll get back to that. Assembly time. So you got the base, you got the middle plate. You're going to take your piston and set it right in the middle plate. Put your spring on, and you're going to take your top hat and you're going to set that over top of everything. And you're going to push down. It takes a little bit of weight because you need to push that piston in through the O-rings. Once it's in, you work on it, make sure it works. This works as it should. And we're going to screw this all back together. Now in the beginning there, when I was showing you the inner wall, the O-rings, that is where you want to apply some of your synthetic grease. I just used a red grease that I got from my local parts store and just literally a touch. You don't want anything caking. You don't want to leave anything behind. It literally was so small you never know it. And I use my finger and just wipe it on the inner walls, wipe it all over the O-rings, and make sure that it is nice and lubricated, and make sure you don't leave any globs of grease on the inside, and you don't cover up the tube area where the vacuum line goes. Now I'm zipping this back together. I am going to grab a ratchet here, and I'm going to tighten this properly, not torquing it, but I'm just going to snug everything up with my ratchet. I didn't want to run it too hard on the impact gun. The impact was there just to speed the process up a little bit, but we're actually going to tighten it down by hand and make sure these screws are nice and tight. After this, we'll take it back out to the car. We'll reinstall it, make sure the vacuum hose is put back on, and then we will take it for a test drive and make sure everything is good and operational. That is it. That is how you service your bypass valve or blow-off valve. I highly recommend you do this, whatever it is, every 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 miles, whatever it takes for you to feel comfortable that you have it completed.